got to rise and shine. Make this day mine. You lazy, got no grind. If you ain't talking money, please don't waste my time.
If it's in his best interest not to answer some of these questions, remember he's trying to take us somewhere, okay? So we might just look over certain questions, and it's okay, okay?
I'm gonna answer them.
Okay, all right.
I mean, I believe it. That's how I believe. Like, I don't believe in giving half truths and BSing around what it is.
Can you tell us real quick what, for those of us that aren't in politics, that don't understand the city layout, where's the Second Ward?
So Second Ward is pretty much, it's like a little bit north of Business Loop, and then all the way down to, I believe it's Mexico Gravel to the east, and then I forget what street to the west, but basically just if you're north of Business Loop and east of Mexico Gravel, you're pretty much in the Second.
So it's the north side.
North side.
North side. I hear you. I don't know, but I'm gonna tell you now. Reverend Kelly was talking about crime on the north side initially, you know, and so I would like to recap real quick. Pulled up to my building, happened on my property, told the folks they couldn't come into my property, so they trespassed and did it in front of my children. The police told me we can't figure out who the aggressor was.
This is my spot. What you mean?
With that, 6 exits though.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I got 6 ways in, 6 ways out.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Like, so it spoke to me to how they see my worth. Mm-hmm. It didn't matter if I'm a business owner. It doesn't matter if I have all the rights that they have, period. If they see me as 3/5 of a man or whatever that is, then I'll be treated as 3/5 of a man, and I'll never be able to rely on justice. Now, you know, if I was violent back to the fullest capability of my being, I'm 6'2"
if you would have mopped them, man, you would have been in handcuffs.
Under the penitentiary.
Instantly. If you would have mopped them, you would have been in jail.
So yeah, I'm sitting here and I'm wondering how we change the narrative from black men being so dangerous, even when we're not presenting ourselves as a threat at all. They can actually take us for that. You see what I'm saying? I allowed myself to be whooped pretty good because I got too much to lose. I'm unified, right? I'm a black business owner. I'm a black father. I'm a friend to the community. You see what I'm saying? So if I show any aggression, it's all over.
I mean, and that's something like I was telling somebody about. Like I got a new puppy last year or whatever, and like as big as he is, I told her like she's like, why are you always making sure he's like so gentle and everything like that? I'm like, honestly, it's kind of akin to how we got to navigate the world. Like, you can't show you using some inflection on your voice is enough for certain people to act like you just punched them in the throat.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And especially if you are a larger brother or a brother with a deep voice, darker skin, a certain hairstyle, you cannot express yourself. You can't show any emotion other than.
That's it.
So I mean, I can't go forward. But to that end, like, how do we combat that? We got to get control of our own narratives. Like, we got to tell our own stories. We can't let. We gotta fight for the minds of our own children, and also just like I said, get control of our own stories. And we got to get our kids out of these schools. Like, there's a whole lot of things.
Charter schools, yeah.
Yeah, like because that's where I first started getting pathologized as a threat. And I mean, and we wonder why, like, some of these young boys, like I remember I was telling you earlier, like some of these young boys, some might be angry. Like I know I was angry as shit when I was 17. Mm-hmm. But it's because you walk around and you know shit is messed up. Like, you know this is messed. Like, you know this is, but even at 17, you might not have like the experience and like the articulation to put it into something to present to everybody. But you know shit ain't right, and it's just like, okay, how do we capture like that fervor and put it and redirect it to where it needs to be, which is at our oppressors. I know people don't want to hear that. People want to act like black people ain't oppressed. Are you new here? That's what I would ask. You know what I'm saying?
Right. What does it have to look like for you to admit it's happening?
We got to be back in bondage.
Right.
I mean, and that's where honestly.
Well, no, then they'll just call us criminals.
That's how they get us back in bondage. I mean, and there's like even I saw something out in DC. They passed some new law where
Shout out to DC.
it's like making it basically like they taking away some of the protections. Like if a minor is getting detained by the police, they might not have to wait until an adult gets there before they question them and stuff like that. So it's just like I think we need to start protecting.
Not shout out to DC. Go ahead.
But yeah, like I think we need to like really we need to love our youth. Like we need to love them, and we also need to give them an ideology that is counter to that of our oppressors. Like if we are teaching them, hey, all that matters is the bag. I'm not saying that, and that's not me saying you don't need a bag, because you do. Because I'm like, hey, you gotta eat. But if your eating isn't tied to a bag, that's a different type of liberation.
That's right.
That's what I'm saying. Like if your housing ain't tied to a bag, that's liberation.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? If your ability to sustain your people isn't tied to the bag, that's the type of liberation. But we do need bags, and we do need resources to get to that point. But it's just like it's got to be, if you're gonna tell them to get the bag so that you can do what with it. If it's just to buy more stuff that they can take away from you at the drop of a hat, or to have the things that they deem as high, symbols of high status and high worth, we cook.
We are.
You know what I'm saying? Like we cook. If we teaching our youth that the most important thing for them to do is to be like the same people that's oppressing them. I mean, we putting a shackle on them before they even get out into the world and get shackled by them. So it's just like we got to liberate our minds and make sure that we are protecting the minds and the souls of. I feel like young black boys get criminalized. Just like as soon as you taller than what, like 5'2", like I mean, when did it start for y'all? I mean, just going around, just like a general conversation. When did it start for you?
Second grade.
Yeah,
It was first grade.
that's what I'm saying. Like
Second grade, man.
See, well, I would tell you this, because I was in DC, it was harder for me to recognize that I was different because the teachers looked like me.
Chocolate City.
You know, the principal looked like me. The most of the police looked like me. You know, when I noticed I was different was actually when we moved for a time to Virginia. You know, they call it the DMV out there because we interchanged in borders so much, right? And when I went to Virginia, I got caught with a pellet gun. They treated it like it was a real firearm. And then I knew I was a threat, you know. So, and then when I went to Minnesota, same deal. But when I moved here, let me tell you something about this city. When I moved here, I knew I was different, not because of what the white people were saying, but because the black people said stuff like, they ain't gonna let you do that. When I shared my ideas and when I shared, you know, my dreams and aspirations, I had brothers that had stature, had accomplished things, had went to college. They were part of the sororities and things of that nature. And they used to tell me, the ghetto boys ain't gonna let you do that, or they ain't gonna let you do that. And I used to be like, well, where they at? Let me go talk to them.
I ain't asking.
I don't understand why I can't talk to the days, right? And then I recognized something. It's systematic. Like generationally here, that thing that happened all the way up until whenever it stopped happening still lives here, right? And now, because it lives here, it's really easy for the police to treat you like you're not worth protecting. It's really easy for the school system to teach you like you're not worth protecting. It's really easy for legislation to get passed against you because you're not owning your homes. It's really easy for there to be no representation of you in the entire city that is in a place that will devote their efforts to saving you, right? Now, and I'm not knocking no not-for-profits. I hope to become one because I need economic stability through farming, through agriculture, so that we can eventually separate from the handout system to economic stability and be able to farm for ourselves, be able to develop. Me and my brother been in construction forever now. He taught me most of everything I know, right? So we have construction and infrastructure. We have food. I've been farming forever. You see what I'm saying? I've been planting stuff since before they was allowing us to plant stuff. Okay? Now, all of this type stuff was going on. I know I have a green thumb. I'm getting ready to give away cucumbers and tomatoes and some other things next week here when my kids get back to me. We're opening our doors. There's a whole list of people that need it. But when we start doing this stuff ourselves, I'm really in agreement with you for this. Then I know we're going to start winning. Because if we don't need nobody for food, we don't have to worry about a food desert, right?
Right.
So we don't have to worry about insecurities after school, before school, in the middle of the nights. None of that for our children.
Exactly.
No
Our
more.
kids ain't going to bed hungry no more. They ain't going to school hungry no more.
I fully agree. I got a partner named Kerry Saffold in Minnesota, and he probably doesn't even know I still pay him attention. But he did something genius. The schools was labeling his children problem children in education, right? He refused to live with those titles on those children. So he went and took his children to a charter school, a black charter school.
I would love to see something like
Them
that.
children are winning.
Yeah.
Kerry was smart as a whip when we was young, though. His wife, smart as a whip when we was young. There was no way in hell that them kids wasn't smart as a whip naturally.
Yeah, but
And
you
it's-
know, they're gonna say you an underachiever if you making straight C's because, well, every time I have something to say on a topic, miss whatever, shut me down and tell me to be quiet or whatever. Like I can't count the amount of times I got in trouble for talking back when it was literally just me like speaking on. Like we talking about this historical thing. Okay, well I was taught that your forefather was a genocidal, mass rapist, human trafficking, XYZ. Like, oh, well, I don't really think we should be politicizing this. I'm like, wait. Now it's politicizing this? Like, what do you mean? What do you mean?
Okay, you just segued into the perfect
I'm
topic.
sorry.
I want charter schools for us. The reason why I want charter schools for us, though, is because it's been proven that the way the curriculum rolls out is different from African American students than white students, right? If for instance, C Tom Run, right? Even though my grandfather's name is Tom, most of us don't have a C Tom Run in our visual. So if our books read how we think, we'll be able to articulate better according to what we're reading, right? According to the visuals
we can't
have.
read anything from us in the school.
That's right.
I mean,
That's right.
I mean, that's when people say, well, are you not creating the division that you're trying to fight by having a school for specifically, for black kids? It's like, it's not saying, white kids couldn't come there, but are you gonna send your white kids to like a Pan-African charter school? Probably not. And I'm not talking some Umar stuff like, oh, send money for the school and 5 years later here's an empty lot. But yeah, like we're not getting this in our schools, and if we do, like we get to the point now where people are up in arms at school board and stuff like that, trying to make sure that you gotta get a permission slip if you want to read something from a black person, from a gay person, or from a radical, black Pan-African or something like that. Like, and also I think because I don't know how to put this other than like a lot of where we are getting captured at is in K through 12. Like that education system is where we getting captured.
Yeah, it's the truth, man. Like I remember, I'm trying to
No, you
come
good,
in on
bro.
the thing, but
Come on.
basically, man, I remember as a second grader, man, a teacher literally saw a white boy punch me. I punched him back, and then I got sent to the office. The white boy didn't get in no trouble or nothing. I was like, man, and it's so crazy. That's over 40 years, almost 40 years ago, right? And I still remember the teacher's name, the kid's name, the principal's name, everybody's name that really did me wrong and traumatized me as a kid, bro.
Injustice stings.
Oh yeah.
People don't. Not only does it sting, everybody knows it, so it's strategic, right?
Mm-hmm.
So even this cop that isn't willing to say this black man was a victim, right? He may or may not know it, but he grew up under the mindset that the black man is the perpetrator.
Always.
So if he grew up under the mindset that the black man is the perpetrator, he doesn't even know what it looks like to say a black man has been victimized. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So the reason why he couldn't decide who the aggressor was is because he's been taught that I am the aggressor, period, right?
Period.
So for him, he probably feels like he gave me a break, not arresting me.
Yeah.
For real.
You see what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah, I feel you. Yeah,
You see what I'm
yeah,
saying?
that's what they do.
Like he doesn't even realize he just added to injustice. You see what I'm saying? The sting of that is gonna have me fighting for this situation harder than he ever seen a brother fight for it, because I'm entitled to justice, right?
Right.
And I'm sorry for whoever it might have been that decided to raise their hands against me, or order a child to do so, right? Knowing that I couldn't fight the child back, or else I'd lose too much, and then pursue me in that way. I mean, I feel sorry that mindset was ever there. Is it locked? Open the door. Tell him to go through the door. So, but the fact of the matter is, injustice occurred. It was aided and assisted by the police officer because he had the inability to see that I deserved protection.
And where he learned that? He learned that at home and at school.
Yeah, first grade, second grade, third grade.
Yep.
This guy's a problem.
I mean, and that's like I had a similar experience.
Okay, lock this in.
My first day at a new school, I'm sitting there at my locker. Guy walks up behind me. I don't like you messing with my friends, nigga. I'm like, I mean, there's no thought. Just turn around, wow, going for the eye. He's like, oh my eye, he stabbed me in the pencil with an eye. He said I stabbed him in the eye with a pencil.
Right.
The immediate belief was that I did stab him in the eye with a pencil. I'm just like, what do I look like stabbing him in the eye with a pencil, hey? But I'm just like, no, that's not the situation at all. But it's just a mess, like,
Yeah.
and it's when you do talk to black men, like, I would encourage white people, talk to the black men in your life and ask them, like, so how old were you when you were first pathologized as a threat to everybody's existence?
Right.
And for the most part, it's gonna be like, I ain't even hit puberty. I mean, that's literally what we don't even get to hit puberty before. Hey, that is an inhuman beast that if he so decides, he is going to flip out and murder everybody in here. So we need to keep an eye on him. We need to monitor him. We need to get him in the system as early as possible.
Right.
I mean, and that's what a lot of it is. Like, we see that the traffic stop data, they're still stopping us 4 times more than white people out here. And then for people who are supposed to be allies and advocating for the same things that we're supposed to be advocating for, to say that that's not proof of discrimination.
Well, ain't we only like 10, 11, 12% of this population?
Yes. And we still getting stopped 4 times more, but that's not proof of discrimination. What is it proof of then?
Right.
Like, is it, it must be proof that we are inherently more criminal than other people? Oh, is that what you're trying to say? Or
That's what they want.
I mean, that's really what it is, and they don't want to, like, they like to say the thing without actually saying the thing, and they don't like being called out for it by people who know what the subtext of what they say and can actually read into what they are proposing in terms of policies. Like, other candidates in the race, so far, one of them has tried to get me to drop out of the race twice, saying that he's so sure that we have shared values and ideologies and that they don't want to split the progressive vote. So I should get out of the race and get behind him. What is progressive about a qualified black man with a policy platform that is addressing disparities, addressing poverty, addressing housing, addressing the environment, and get out and get behind you with your boilerplate policies? Okay. Like, and then the other person, we set up a meeting to just get to know each other. So there was an interim second ward process where you could just like put in an application for it because Andrea Weiner, the former second ward councilperson, she stepped down because she moved out of the ward. So they opened up this application process, which I'll go into later, but long story short on that, 8 people applied, and the mayor in an email directed city council to the most way the person that most closely aligns with Andrea, who was the one who was leaving. How could anybody possibly, but who they ended up selecting? Her best friend. How could you if the main thing that the mayor wants you to weigh is who most closely aligns with this person, and this person's best friend is one of the applicants.
That's a shoe-in.
That's a shoot. That's not even a selection process, especially when all of the council members didn't even contact all of the applicants.
Yeah.
By the day of the vote, I had only heard from the mayor and the 5th ward councilman. So out of 6 people that got to vote, I only heard from 2 of them about the day of the vote. And I'm the only one who has any type of political background, any of that out of the whole field. And somehow I don't get contacted. And not only that, but the mayor in a city council meeting said that all of the applicants were contacted that they could make public comment before they voted. She didn't contact me. Because if I would have known about it, I would have gone and given my public commentary, like, and said, hey, this is a sham and here's why. I suspect that's why I wasn't contacted.
So you're the type of person that's gonna stand up for what's right.
Yeah, I'm not playing with these people. like, that's what I'm saying. Rest in peace, Eric Mays. Like, I mean, we need more people like that in elected office because, like, I'm not trying to be these people's friend.
Right.
Like, I'm not trying to be their friend. I'm not trying to be their buddy, old pal. I'm not trying to go to their gala. I'm not trying to do none of that. I'm here to do people's work. That's it.
So give me 3 things real quick that you know would be considered the people's work.
All right. $15 an hour minimum wage, because when you raise the wage floor, that's putting thousands of dollars more in people's pockets that didn't happen before. Affordable housing, so putting more money into community development and neighborhood services, and some into the land trust for rental properties, because Missouri has a law that bans a city from implementing rent control, which would be something like if we had the ability to do rent control, the city could say no landlord can raise a resident's tenant's rent more than 2% from year to year or whatever. Because as it is right now, the north side is getting rapidly gentrified because people could just come in and do like the place I'm at. It's people who live 4 hours away, bought the place I'm renting, made no renovations, and then raised the rent $500 a month. And it's not unique to me. It's happening all over the South, all over the Second Ward.
Right.
And the city has no plans for it. I'm like, okay, we'll get creative and think, okay, if it's a law that prevents us from implementing rent control, but but something like the land trust would be exempt from that law. So the land trust isn't an end-all be-all, but in terms of putting some money into something that could secure land and build like proper housing for people who don't necessarily have the most money in the world, I mean, that's helping people who might have been on the margin, might have ended up homeless, or had to live in a place with substandard building materials and packed in. Like, that's another thing about affordable housing. Like, it ain't just about the affordability, it's the livability too. Cause like, if you just put up like a housing project and everybody just stacked on top of each other, and the building got garbage ventilation and it's crap paint and bad installation, like, what are we really doing other than just like this is
institutionalizing people to live in quarters that are subpar, that do not promote high self-esteem, that do not encourage you to get better, be better, treat the land better, treat the property better, and then increase the property value. Hold that across the board. I understand. The only thing that I would want you to consider too is when you speak to stuff like that. Now, the Fed controls a great portion of how landlords have to adjust the rent. So there needs to be, we don't want homeowners to cave because they can't raise the rent, but there needs to be a cap. If the Fed says 5%, then maybe it's 5.3%. You know what I'm saying? And stuff like that you can raise the rent, right? Or if it's already at 5% and the Fed says 7%, then you can only raise it at 2%. Right. You already have your profit in the original rent, but you have to adjust for the Fed if you have a mortgage. If you do not have a mortgage on that property, you can't adjust. That's just No,
that's a good idea. That's a good idea.
So,
the third thing would be for me ecological restoration, because we need our agricultural sites. That ties directly into our independence, our liberation, our sustainability. Like, if we don't have to worry about where our next meal is coming from because we grow our own next meal, we raise our own next meal, and we don't have to worry about like, okay, well, are people gonna have to go to the food bank? No, we are the food bank. We got you. Like,
right. Period.
We stock these food cooperatives that are owned and operated by the people that live here with the food that we grow in our own farms. Mm-hmm. And it's like, okay, well, we don't need y'all for that no more.
Right.
Like, we don't need y'all.
And you don't even have to come. We'll come to you.
We'll come to you. And
We know you got 6 kids up in there.
But
Let's talk about my house.
And ask a question. Just as far as language and optics, I hear, and I love y'all's conversation thus far, I hear a lot of us and them, they and we. And then for those people who may be listening and the other members of our community who may be wondering more about, you know, your political goals, and then even you, Aaron, and your engagement, what and who are them and they and us and them, and for those who may be offended or may take offense to that articulation of describing, can you speak to that, you know? And do you feel like an apology could be warranted if you may be striking a nerve or offending people by posturing those, you know, alternatives in your conversation?
I'll start with the end. I will not apologize. And for me, the they and them I'm talking about would be those that ascribe to white hegemony, which is just meaning that whiteness has to be the center of everything. If that's what you ascribe to, then then I'm talking about you. If that's not you, hit dogs don't need to hit dogs holler. If it don't apply to you, you have nothing to be offended by.
Yeah. And for me to dumb that all the way down to where I could understand it, 'cause that brother got it, you know. So I'm gonna tell you what it means for me. If you were in a position to create policy and create change, and you are offended by the fact that the have-nots are speaking now on what they need to feel good about themselves, to feel good about the future, to feel good about how we raising our kids, then you the days. You see, because we need these things to be viable. We need, for lack of a better term, we need to be able to segregate our money, right? And then we need them to help subsidize this little bit of money and grow it so that we can actually do the things they want us to do. What are those things? Be self-sufficient, right? Be contributors to the plan, to the city plan that Columbia has, right? To understand where we're at in health, like you said, agriculture, to start owning land to create higher property taxes so that we can contribute to our own schools, right? So if you are against what we're saying, those are the things you're against.
Right.
Your own plan.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Your
And
own. Yeah.
I appreciate y'all. I know there could be some people, I'm with you.
No, I appreciate you because
But,
we
you
wouldn't have
know,
thought to do that.
We gotta include everyone. This is everyone's welcome in this conversation. And you know, but if you're not with us, you against
I'm
us.
just talking directly to if you are against the just aspirations of Africans everywhere, I'm talking to you. Period.
Okay.
Like, I'm not walking it back. You could be mad about it. You could die mad about it.
Yeah.
Thank you for clarification.
I'm sorry.
Don't be the enemy of the genius that made you this country. I get it. So, 6 minutes.
15,
All right, 6 minutes, let me fresh your
15,
own.
15,
Oh, okay.
15.
15? Oh, okay.
All right. So, with that said, now you are unapologetic. So let's turn it to what the sister was saying, and let's be inclusive of like an economic divide too, right? Because a lot of the people we're talking to have parts of their culture that they don't even admit need help. So us, as the north side, as the east side, and as central, or what is this side over? West side, right? The north side, the east side, or the 1, the 2, and the 3. All right. Us that are in the the wards 1, 2, and 3, we actually have to protect a lot more people than we know. You know, by us having these viable communities, the have-nots that are here with us that don't look like us will benefit.
I'm so glad you said that, because the sooner that poor white folks realize that wealthy white folks.
My man don't be
Yeah.
playing. Look, as soon as these poor white folks realize that these wealthy white folks ain't got their interest in,
That's what I'm
go
saying.
ahead,
Yeah.
talk to
Yeah.
me. Talk to me.
What's going on,
No
brother?
chaser. Give us
Yeah,
some
as soon as
straight.
these poor white folks realize that these wealthy white folks see you as just as disposable as the rest of us, and you act accordingly, the sooner we can all get free.
That's right.
And the thing is, you won't ever be free because we ain't free.
Right.
And a lot of y'all, and the fact that, unfortunately, we do face a lot of ire from that group, but it's also because of propaganda. Like their propaganda has to believe the reason you don't have is the black or brown or whatever person next to you. Or,
Even the reason why your child's on drugs is because the community that you living in.
right.
Right.
It's not because
It's their music.
Right. It's that. Right. So it's just, and that's why, like, in terms of like economics, like, it's really important to be in class solidarity. Like for me, it's just like we got to be in racial solidarity, we got to be in class solidarity, and like in environmental solidarity. So it's just like, okay, first and foremost, we making sure that all Africans on the same page, unified
There it
for the
is.
purpose of liberation. Anything short of that, it's got to go.
Unified for the purpose of liberation.
Amen.
Here, like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Okay.
and if we can't, like you're saying, if we can't all get on board with that, we already done. Like,
That's right.
it's only a matter of time before we end up back in bondage. So it's just like, and the way that they keep switching up laws and stuff like that, and how they move, don't think that they won't try some high tech, get you back in bondage type stuff. Like, I wouldn't put it past.
Aaron,
When
what
I-
you preach about at church? What you say about
What-
incarceration? What you say
Oh,
about
that's
Oh,
slavery.
yeah, that's slavery by another
that
type.
that all of that.
Married to
You
that
lose
baby.
you lose every right that you have as a
become
free
state
man
property.
as soon as you allow them to put that jacket on you. And they're gonna try to put that jacket on you. Boy, they do this thing called a SIS, right? So I asked a question about a SIS, and I said, well, hold on, am I a felon if it's a SIS involved? And she said, I used to be able to say no. I said, okay, listen, can I still buy a firearm?
I don't want a suspended imposition of sentence. No,
No, you can't buy no firearm. So felons can't buy firearms, right? So I'm definitely a felon if I take that SIS. Also, thank you for that segue.
That's crazy.
I sat and witnessed how what is that Department of Free Lawyers called, ran by the state?
Oh, was it ACL? No, it's
No.
not ACL.
Minimal legal services,
There you go.
ACL.
No.
you-
What are they called? The Department of the Public Defender.
Oh, the public. Oh,
Okay, is that the same stuff?
Okay.
So I sat and watched how that worked, right? I had a public defender. I emailed the public defender about 15 times
I was
over
just
some
about to
things.
say.
Let me tell you, about 15 times over some things. The day before court, she said, oh, I didn't see this. Well, this is what you can expect today, right? Once she said, this is what you can expect today, I didn't see that because I was getting ready for court that morning. I walked into the courtroom. This is the honest truth. I walked into the courtroom. She pulled me outside. She said, what you gonna do? I said, what you mean? She said, you gonna take the plea? I said, what plea? She said, this is the plea. I said, today? She said, well, no, you ain't gonna go to jail or nothing. This is what's gonna happen, such and such and so and so. I said, so, but is that a felony? She was like, well, not really, because listen. Then she went into a tactic that said, well, they're not calling you a bad person. This was the tactic. They're not saying you did this, this, and this. They're just saying that you didn't pay for this. And we can't really fight that, right? So you should probably just take the plea.
Take this plea.
I said, well, hold on. How much do I need to come up with for that not to be an issue? She told me a number. I said, why didn't you start with that?
Right.
How long do I got to come up with this number? She told me a date. I said, but that ain't today. Why didn't you start with that? Now, young people, if you're in a tight situation and this is happening to you, even if you can't afford a lawyer, you swap out public defenders until you get you one that cares.
I did that
And you
myself,
keep
bro.
swapping, and you keep swapping, and you keep swapping,
Bro.
and you keep swapping. Because
I did that my damn self.
that was amazing on how fast that department or that woman tried to put me back in slavery.
And if you ever need help, I can pull articles that prove over the last 10 years, even since I've been here, that the Missouri public defender system is one of the worst in the entire country in the United States. The cases that they carry are insurmountable. The caseload, they don't really truly have the capacity to adequately serve every person that they're assigned when they take on a tenure. Crazy stuff.
I mean, that in of itself should be a violation of your constitutional rights. Like, you're not getting, adequate counsel.
Taxpaying dollars going to what?
To
Listen, I asked the woman for some advice civilly that would have something to do with this criminal thing, and she told me it's against the law to help me with anything but that. But then didn't even give me no real advice till the morning that she wanted me to take the plea and get my paperwork off her desk. Look,
one of the biggest indicators of whether or not you're gonna do some time for a charge is if you got a public defender or one you pay for.
And I do want to interject for lawyers. It's not all their fault. Some of them,
it's
they
a
don't
system
even,
thing.
she might not even see your file to that week.
She might have had 20 other cases, and that's not excusing.
Not probably. They do have
I don't
20
care.
Right,
cases,
right.
for sure. They definitely got more
look,
cases.
she had to do all day. She had every caseload that
Got a
came
whole
in.
stack of manila
Thank you.
folders, just like,
You see what I'm saying? She-
which one are you?
So I went to jail in Texas, bro. I went to jail in Texas in July 4th, 2011, right? On some shit. I get out, the public defender I get is like threatening me with time, like, and he was just, it's an old white man, like, you need to take this,
Or
you
you
ain't
gonna- or you
this,
gonna do this.
or they not gonna let you free. I'm like, bruh, I'm not finna take something if I didn't. I'm not gonna plead guilty to somebody that do. I don't give a fuck how much money they throw, how much time they give to me. If I didn't do this shit, I'm not gonna plead
This should be
guilty.
a town hall right
Fuck
now.
you, man. So after that shit, man, like I switched out. I had to go to 2 different public defenders. The last one I got, she was like, yeah, the case is dropped or whatever, and she did her work because nigga, I had to go back and forth to Texas, El Paso, Texas for 2.5 years, bro. I lost jobs because I had to take off vacation to go fight this case. I lost employers because they knew what the fuck I was going. I couldn't even apply to certain jobs because I got a felony pending. It was crazy, bro. It was crazy, man.
Yeah,
And that's really,
And they was dangling my life. Dangling my life.
I mean, but that's because
Crazy.
they don't see you as a human, so they don't mind playing with your life. It's like,
all the way
it's
through.
playing with a thing.
All the way through.
Like, you might as well be doing this to mice.
I mean, I'm wondering right now how, when I appeal the fact that these charges wasn't drawn, how the local police department is going to start. Up until now, they've been fair, and I know a lot of people have a lot of controversy with Jeff, but Jeff was my friend. You see what I'm saying? Jeff Jones was a partner of mine, and I'm sorry if I hurt anybody in this neighborhood that don't feel like it, because this neighborhood is mine first. But I didn't have no problems. He's gone. First interaction with these folks, I can't call him. So I don't expect no justice because I don't have an ally there. If I don't have no ally there, I'm wondering how it goes. If I don't have an ally in the public defender's office, then I got to get rid of that and I got to go ahead and get a paid lawyer. I dig that. But when I go to court and present what really happened, I wonder if I'll have an ally in the courthouse. And if I don't have an ally there, then where do you go? Because if you pass it, you see what I'm saying? And you're not a threat, and you're contributing to your community, and you're inspiring folks to greatness, and you're creating a unified platform, and you still don't get any justice from this system, what does that say not only about the value of the community that they're supposed to serve, but the value of each individual in it that's doing the right thing? What does that say? You know? So I hope that they hear you. I hope that our people hear you. I hope that they write you in. What's the day that you need to be written in?
April 2nd, just go to your nearest polling place. Just write in my name, Lucio. I'm gonna send out mailers with like all the information and stuff on it. So I just got my first donation yesterday. So any donation I get is going directly to like mailers, yard signs, stuff like that. Okay. None of it's going to me. Like, I work a whole full. I came here from work.
Right on. I'm fast. Like, look, I just got on. Go ahead.
So it's just like none of it's going in my pocket. Like none of that. Like I believe in. Basically, I just believe. Like I believe in us because I see all the brilliance and love in our people, and I know like where we came from and where we all want to go. And I think that like ultimately, if we can't come together in like communalism and like shared struggle, then it's just like I don't see a good future for us. And I'm not trying to live in a world where the earth is struggling to sustain complex life forms, because that's where we headed. That's and we headed to a point where like they will kill this planet if they can't dominate it all. And that's what it's like. It's time to start being realistic about what we're facing, and also about the fact that we don't really have any friends. Like as a people, just be honest. Like we have friends throughout the diaspora and friends that are like in the shared struggle with us. But like in terms of like allies, I say we have real situational allies, and we got permanent enemies and permanent interests.
So what can we do to get
I'm sorry.
elected?
Okay, go to BitoySecondWard.com. You can go to my website. It's BitoySecondWard.com. That's BITOY, and then just SecondWard.com. Get familiar with my platform. I have a list of speaking engagements on there. I'll be speaking at the League of Women Voters Forum. I'll be speaking at the Mule Skinners Forum. I think it's on the 21st. I'll be at the Missouri Jobs for Justice Forum, and I will be speaking at the Board of Directors meeting for the Mid-Mo Civil Liberties Association. They want to talk about, like the Citizen Police Review Board and stuff like that, because I think it's a largely formative board, because if they can't enforce anything, then well, here's this recommendation for you all to wipe your nose with and go back to doing what you were doing. So sorry, I know it's a bit of a tangent, but just check out my website. My numbers. I usually put my number out. I don't care. Just don't call or text me on no nonsense, please. Reach me at 773-573-6548. You can check my website, BitoySecondWard.com. You can email me, LucioBitoyiv@gmail.
Why are you the best candidate for the second ward?
I'm the best candidate because I'm the only one who has a substantive platform, the only one who has any type of political background. I majored political science at Lincoln University, interned with the Missouri House of Representatives. I've worked in state and local government. I've been a program with the CDC Foundation. I work right now at the Family Resource Center trying to connect people with resources that need them. I'm seeing the material conditions that our people are living in. And that's ultimately what motivated me to run. It's just the material conditions of the people is what my ideology and my philosophy is rooted in. Okay. So that's always how I'm going to move in anything I get into. Like when I worked at the health department before COVID hit, I'm sitting there looking at it like, wait a minute, we're hearing that this is disproportionately affecting people who have these comorbidities or whatever. Wait a minute. Our people have all these comorbidities.
That's right.
So before COVID even got to America, this was in December of 2019, I'm asking the health department director, what's the plan to mitigate this specifically for black people before it even gets here? Her response?
Rest in peace, Drake.
Yeah.
Gave me a shrug. Oh my God. I mean, it's not like I'm the director of a health department or nothing that can actually implement policies and plans and stuff that can actually mitigate that. Sorry, I know I'm just going a little bit all over the place, but yeah, I'm really passionate about this. Yeah, that's really I'm about this work, and if you see fit to put me in a position to represent you, that's exactly what I'm gonna do. You don't have to worry about me going in there missing words. You don't have to worry about me going in there kissing the ring or voting, abstaining from votes or worried about touching hot button stuff. Don't worry about it. I'll take that smoke.
Like Jay-Z said, we ain't shucking and jiving.
I'm not going here to make I'm not going here to make them comfortable. I'm here to make them very uncomfortable and start doing their jobs for the first time since they've been there.
Come on now.
So I mean, really just
come on now.
I believe that we deserve a higher standard of representation, and I'm just trying to bring that. That's all. That's all it is. Somebody who's not going to just go there. Well, I just want to wear a suit and get some nice headshots and stuff. Even if I win, you don't even have to put my face on the website. You can just put a little avatar, a little man-shaped little gray thing, and just you can hit him up and you can go meet him in person. Right. But
let's get it done.
Let's get the work done. I don't care about none of that.
All right. So first, I know we got 1 minute. I want to thank you for coming.
I want
to invite you back out closer to the second.
Yes, sir.
If you want, you can use this establishment to rally any type of fundraisers you want. Okay.
Man, thank you.
We got you.
Thank you.
We got you. We appreciate you. You hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right, we're going to push. We're going to see y'all soon. We're going to come back to this platform in a little bit. I got Ro in the house. I'm going to try to get her on camera.
Yeah. About to go crazy, QP the OG. Had to rise and shine, make this day mine. You lazy, got no grind. If you ain't talking money, please don't waste my time.